Hello everyone, it's Brinks here again with yet another video. And today we're diving into the first class tuning of the War Within expansion. It's been quite a journey, and it's exciting to see how far we've come. This is our first class tuning update together for this expansion, and there's a lot to unpack. We'll be focusing on PvE changes. Let's get into it. First up, Frost Deathknights are getting some nerfs, which isn't too surprising given how strong they've been. Frost Strike is seeing a 6% nerf. Obliterate is also getting hit with a 6% reduction. Glacial Advance and Death Torrent are seeing even bigger nerfs at 10% each. These changes mainly target PV, not PvP, so keep that in mind. Frost Deathknights were performing really well, and now they'll probably be more in line with other specs. Still strong, just not over the top. Next, let's talk about balanced Druids. Balanced players were unhappy going into this expansion, feeling that their rotation was clunky and underperforming, especially with excessive casting of Wrath and Starfire, even when capped on Astral power. So Blizzard has made some adjustments. Umbral Intensity now increases Wrath damage by 20-40%, was 25-50%, and Starfire by 15-30%, was 50%. This change should reduce the incentive to spam Wrath and Starfire when capped on app. Star Surge damage is up by 12%, and Starfall damage is up by 20%, which should help solidify the AoE capabilities. Harmony of the Heavens now boosts Eclipse power by 2% per pros, maxing out at 6%, which is a slight buff in terms of procy value and the overall ceiling. Overall, balanced Druids are receiving a good buff, especially in AoE. Hopefully, this makes their rotation more engaging and rewarding, and gets them to a place where they're happier with their performance. Our Kitten Druids also got a little love. Blood Talons and Line Strength will now also increase the damage of Rampant Ferocity. This is a small but nice quality of life buff. Devastation Evokers are getting a general damage increase as Blizzard tries to push the Firestorm build, which hasn't been seeing a lot of play. All spells and abilities are being buffed by 6%. Firestorm damage is up by 20%, but its duration is reduced from 12 seconds to 10. They've really been trying to make Firestorm work, and these changes should help a bit. Devastation has been overshadowed by Augmentation since it was released, so it's nice to see it get some tuning to make it more appealing for high-end play. Now, let's talk Hunters. Beast Mastery. Vicious Hunt damage is increased by 10%, and Pack Leader crit damage is also being buffed. Survival. Vicious Hunt is actually being nerfed by 10% because it was dominating the rotation, but they're compensating with buffs to Ferocious Assault and Call the Herd to keep things balanced. These tweaks should keep both specs feeling fresh and balanced in their respective playstyles. For mages, we have some buffs, mainly to Fire spec. Living Bomb damage is increased by 30%. Fire Blast gets a 5% increase, and Flame Strike goes up by 10%. Living Bomb has been all over the place in terms of power, so it's going to be interesting to see where it lands in the long term. Frostfire Bolt damage is up by 25%, but only for Fire Mages. There are also some minor nerfs to Sunfury Arcane that affect both Arcane and Fire, but nothing too dramatic. Overall, Fire Mage looks to be in a solid place. Retribution Paladin tuning is a bit of a mix. Mastery is being nerfed by 10%. However, all holy spell damage is getting a 5% buff. This is likely to result in a small overall buff, but is also going to shift gear priorities away from stacking Mastery as heavily. Disciplined Priests got some significant buffs. Preventative Measures now increases Power Word, Shield absorption by 40% was 25. Atonement healing is increased by 100% outside of raids, up from 70%. Pain and Purge the Wicked damage are up by 20%. These buffs are huge for Mythic and should make Discipline feel much more viable in dungeons where it was struggling. Elemental Shamans are seeing a change similar to what we saw with Retribution. Mastery's effect is being buffed by 35%, but all overall damage is reduced by 6%. The idea is to make Mastery a more impactful stat, shifting the focus towards it while slightly balancing overall damage output. Enhancement Shamans also get some tweaks. Stormbringer Tempest now deals 65% of its damage to nearby enemies, up from 50%, but has reduced damage beyond 5 targets. There are a lot of moving parts here, but enhancement should see a small bump in AU situations. Destruction Warlocks are getting a simple 5% increase to all ability damage. This should help keep them competitive across the board.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up. It really helps out the channel. And don't forget to click subscribe if you want to see more videos from us.